It's been 15 years since the last Tron movie, and let me just say, it's been a fun, short return, Tron, but now it's time you return to your grave. Let's talk about Tron Ares. The moment I saw Tron Legacy for the first time, I wanted a follow-up. Clearly, many fans wanted the same thing. It may have taken 15 years, but now it's officially here. Tron Ares. Why did it take so long for a sequel to Legacy, you ask? Well, Tron Legacy's box office didn't exactly set the world on fire. It made $410 million on a $170 million budget. But I think because of Legacy's cult following, Disney decided to greenlight a third movie. However, despite this cult following, like I said, it has been over a decade since the last film. With that in mind, how do you get butts in theater seats? The answer is you gotta get good reviews. How do you get good reviews? By pleasing the diehards. And then when you please the diehards, that'll be an indicator to the casual movie theater goers that this will be a good movie to see in theaters, so then both the diehards and casuals will pay and make Tron Ares a lot of money. Unfortunately though, Tron Ares is one of the most mediocre movies I have ever seen. Not that I dislike it per se, it's just extremely average. So I'm not surprised a majority of the critical reviews were mid to below average. Now, Tron Legacy, on the other hand, I think deserved much better reviews. It's around the 50th percentile on Rotten Tomatoes right now, which is ridiculous. That movie should have been way higher. When it comes to Ares though, well, I understand why those reviews are lower. Because Ares is clearly a big step below Legacy in every way. And like the title of my video says, yeah, Ares is how you kill a franchise. One big mistake they made was making a threequel to an extremely niche franchise 15 years after the last one. And I'm sure by now, many people have forgotten about Tron. The other big mistake they made was making an extremely mid threequel. But what about Tron Ares is mid? Let's dive into it. But real quick first, make sure to subscribe to the channel and leave a like if you're enjoying yourself so far. To begin, this is not a cinematic movie whatsoever. Tron Legacy is the ultimate epic adventure thrill ride, whereas Ares takes audiences on a completely dull route. What's the thing people like the most about Tron? Oh yeah, the grid. So what does Tron Ares decide to do? Well, they make the stupidest decision ever by having 90% of the film take place in the real world. Yeah, you heard that right. 90% of the movie takes place in the real world, not in the grid world. Really exciting stuff. You know, when I'm watching Legacy, I never feel bored. I'm always tuned in. Meanwhile, when I was watching Ares, I kept checking my phone. I was ready to leave the theater multiple times. Because outside of a few cool action scenes, there isn't much here that helped maintain my ever so declining attention span. Don't get me wrong, there are some entertaining action sequences in Tron Ares, but what could have made them 100 times better was by not having them in the real world. A world that looks very boring compared to the grid world. Again, why did they decide to make most of this movie take place in the real world? It doesn't make any sense to me. But not only is a majority of Tron Ares put in a lame setting, the movie revolves its story around lame characters as well. Disney thinks we care about these characters we have never met before. Almost everyone who appears in Tron Ares is a new character, but they never give us a reason to care about these characters. What on earth were they thinking? Why, after so many years, would you not have the main characters from Tron Legacy be the main characters in Tron Ares? It doesn't help one bit Greta Lee is not good in Tron Ares. I don't buy a single line of dialogue from her. Jared Leto is fine. I've noticed one of the big complaints about Jared Leto is his character is monotone throughout. He is playing a program, so I get it, but Clue was a program in the previous flicks, and he had loads of charisma. charisma, so it would have been beneficial to give Leto's character more personality. Evan Peters is also tolerable. I don't mind him playing the villain, but at the same time, he's not somebody I see as a main villain in a film like this. He's, to me, always been just a nice, nerdy side character who's on the good side. I could tell that he's having a lot of fun playing the main villain in Tron Ares. The problem is, I don't find him intimidating. All in all, Ares is a somewhat boring movie thanks to lifeless characters in a real-world setting that pales in comparison to Legacy's grid world. How about the plot? I don't find it bad, but unfortunately, it's one that becomes repetitive. Basically, Evan Peters' company has found a way to bring the digital world to our world and seeks to sell his creations in militarized form. The one problem is, these creations can only exist for 29 minutes in our world. But Encom, led by Greta Lee, has found a way to permanently keep the digital world in our world, and so Evan Peters is going after that code. This narrative leads to a series of what feels like never-ending chases, mainly taking place in our world, and that, my friends, is no fun. However, Tron Legacy took place almost entirely on the grid, so it's a pretty movie to look at and never gets boring thanks to the grid. Finally, speaking of Legacy, Ares doesn't feel like a sequel to it. As stated, everyone in Ares is new. The story has nothing to do with Legacy either. I believe Ares shot itself in the foot by not having Garrett Hedlund or Olivia Wilde return and reprise their roles from Legacy. Why not? The only character from Legacy who comes back is Jeff Bridges. They've been talking about it in the marketing, and they build it up to be like this giant character return, when in reality, that's not the case. It's just a mere cameo. They really should have a college course on Tron Ares called How to Kill a Franchise 101, because sometimes great visuals and an awesome Nine Inch Nails soundtrack isn't going to be enough. With that 15-year gap between Legacy and Ares, Disney should have pulled out every card they could have in order to get this movie good reviews. That would have helped the box office tremendously, but now it's looking like the Tron franchise as a whole is on the verge of death, thanks to this box office, and also it wasn't like Legacy's box office was all that great either, so I'm not really sure what Disney was thinking by greenlighting this without having a solid plan to make a direct sequel to Legacy in the first place. From start to finish, Tron Ares was a disappointment. Not a bad movie, not a good movie, just a mid-movie. Considering it is the sequel to Tron Legacy, a film that I love, you saw it in my last video, it's one of my favorite Disney live-action films, I had a lot of hope for a sequel and was thinking, well, if it takes them 15 years to make a sequel, it's going to be good. And, well, let's just say it was not. So do you guys agree the Tron franchise is officially dead with the release of Tron Ares? Or do you think there's going to be a miracle performed and a fourth Tron movie does come out because somehow this box office turns it around? We shall see if that happens, but yes, let me know in the comments what you think. Well, thank you all so much for watching this movie review. Again, if you're new here and enjoyed yourself, be sure to subscribe, turn on all notifications for upcoming videos, and leave a like. I'll catch you all in the next one. See you then.